Welcome, everyone, to Vpod.ai. I'm your host, Mike, and joining me is our expert, Susan. You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit Vpod.ai to get started today. So imagine opening up the lunch bag of a top-tier, highly respected cardiologist and finding a sticky, brightly colored packet of processed children's gummy snacks.
Right, which sounds completely backwards.
Exactly. But today, we're going to find out why that isn't some moment of weakness, but actually a highly calculated medical strategy.
Yeah, it really shatters the illusion we tend to build around medical professionals, assuming that they live in these sterile, perfect nutritional bubbles.
Oh, for sure. We picture them just eating plain kale all day.
Right. But we are looking at the actual daily menu of Dr. Charlene Day, who is a cardiologist at Michigan Medicine. And the most vital piece of context here is that she isn't just a clinician handing out rules from an ivory tower. I mean, she's a working mother of 2 teenagers.
Which changes everything.
It really does. Her approach forces us to bridge that massive gap between clinical cardiovascular theory and the messy, chaotic reality of, just getting dinner on the table between homework and soccer practice.
I think we've all been handed those rigid, abstract lists of rules for heart health.
Yeah.
Like, eat this, never eat that.
And it feels completely disconnected from how human beings actually live.
Right. So let's start with her overarching philosophy, because that sets the foundation for everything she puts on a plate.
Absolutely.
She actively avoids regularly consuming prepared, heavily processed foods. And obviously, we know that's because of the massive amounts of fat, cholesterol, calories, and sugar.
Yeah. But instead of just repeating the tired mantra that processed food is bad, let's actually dig into the biological stakes.
Yes, please. What is actually happening on a cellular level when someone relies on those convenience meals?
Well, the primary battlefield is something called the endothelium.
The endothelium.
Yeah, that is the incredibly delicate single-cell layer that lines the inside of all your blood vessels.
Okay, just one cell thick. That sounds super fragile.
It is. And when you consume high volumes of the specific refined sugars and saturated fats found in heavily manufactured foods, it triggers a state of endothelial dysfunction.
Meaning it stops working properly?
Exactly. The fats don't just passively float around and clog the pipe like sludge in a kitchen sink.
Which is totally how everybody pictures it, by the way.
Yeah.
Just bacon grease in a pipe.
Right, but that's a myth. They actually provoke an active inflammatory response. The blood vessel walls become irritated, they swell up, and they get chemically sticky.
Oh, wow. So the environment inside the blood vessel changes entirely.
Yes.
Which I'm guessing makes it highly vulnerable to cholesterol just latching onto those sticky walls and forming plaque.
You hit the nail on the head. That plaque hardens and narrows the arteries over time.
And when the passageway shrinks, the heart has to work harder.
Significantly harder. It's forced to generate a lot more pressure just to push the same volume of blood through your system.
That sounds exhausting for the heart.
It is. Over the years, that chronic mechanical strain forces the heart muscle to basically remodel itself. It becomes thicker and much less efficient, which is a direct pathway to heart failure.
Man. And when you compound that with the rapid weight gain that usually comes with the high caloric density of prepared foods, you are creating a perfect storm of cardiovascular stress.
Exactly. It's a compounding issue.
I have to push back here, though.
Yeah.
Because if you tell a busy family they can never have pizza or comfort food again because of endothelial dysfunction, you are going to face an all-out rebellion in your kitchen.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, think of the heart like a sports car engine. You don't want to pump it full of cheap, thick syrup, obviously. But surely you can still enjoy life. Like whole wheat dough and low-fat cheese do not taste like a greasy, delicious delivery pizza.
Yeah, they really don't.
So does her family actually buy into this, or are they constantly fighting about what's for dinner?
Well, that potential for rebellion is the exact reason her entire dietary framework is built on modification, not deprivation.
Okay, modification. So she's not banning the fun foods?
No, she does not banish pizza from her household at all. She just changes the architecture of it.
How so?
By utilizing whole wheat dough, she significantly increases the dietary fiber. And that fiber acts like a physical net in the digestive tract.
A net. Like it catches things.
Yeah, it slows down the absorption of carbohydrates. And that prevents those massive insulin spikes that drive the inflammation we were just talking about.
That makes a lot of sense.
But the real genius of her pizza night isn't even the dough. It's the do-it-yourself topping bar. She gives her teenagers total autonomy over their own plates.
Oh, I love that. So setting out a huge buffet of healthy toppings and just letting them build whatever they want.
Exactly. It completely bypasses the traditional parental lecture.
Which nobody wants to hear anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And we actually have some fascinating poll data indicating that 1 in 3 parents find it genuinely difficult to talk to their teenagers about food and weight.
Only 1 in 3. I feel like that number should be higher. It is a highly sensitive, emotionally fraught topic.
It really is. The minute a parent tries to control every bite or critique what a teenager is eating, the teenager naturally pushes back and becomes defensive.
Yeah, the walls go up immediately. The dinner table turns into a battleground instead of a place to relax.
Exactly. But by setting up that DIY pizza bar, or even sneaking diced produce into classic comfort foods like meatloaf and stir-fry, she is quietly controlling the environment rather than policing their behavior.
Which is brilliant. It's like dietary stealth mode.
It is. She is fostering intuitive habits. When people, and especially teenagers, feel they have agency over their choices, they are far more likely to voluntarily load up on vegetables.
It's a profound strategy for generational health, honestly, because it removes the friction and the shame from eating well.
Completely. And that environmental control extends to how she manages her own daily energy as a working physician, too.
Right, let's talk about her actual day. You might assume a cardiologist starts her morning with a hyper-optimized, incredibly complex green smoothie or something.
Right, something that takes an hour to make.
Exactly. But her breakfast is actually remarkably functional and simple.
Very simple.
She relies on low-fat Greek yogurt, a banana, and low-sugar granola with raspberries. And the logistical trick here is brilliant. She and her husband alternate making this breakfast while the other exercises.
Which is just a purely pragmatic tag team system. It guarantees their physical activity doesn't fall victim to a chaotic morning schedule.
Totally. But nutritionally, that specific combination of ingredients is kind of a masterclass in vascular support and hormone regulation, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Let's look at the banana, for instance. It is famous for potassium, obviously.
Right. Everybody knows bananas have potassium.
But mechanistically, potassium acts as a powerful vasodilator.
Okay, vasodilator, meaning it expands the blood vessels.
Exactly. It helps your kidneys excrete excess sodium through your urine, and it physically relaxes the tension in the smooth muscle cells that wrap around your blood vessel walls.
So the banana is actively expanding the blood vessels and driving down blood pressure before she even leaves the house.
Yes, it's starting the day with a literal pressure release.
That is incredible. What about the raspberries? Because we hear the word antioxidant thrown around like a meaningless marketing buzzword all the time.
It really is overused. But in this clinical context, we are looking specifically at polyphenols.
Polyphenols. Okay.
These are microscopic plant compounds that interact directly with human cells to neutralize free radicals.
And free radicals are the bad guys here.
Yeah, they are basically unstable molecules that roam around damaging cellular structures, which accelerates aging and disease.
So by mitigating that oxidative stress, the polyphenols in the raspberries help maintain the crucial flexibility of the arteries.
You got it. And then you pair that vascular protection with the heavy protein load of the Greek yogurt.
Which keeps you full.
Right, she is actively manipulating her hunger hormones. Protein suppresses ghrelin, which is the hormone that signals hunger to the brain.
Okay, ghrelin makes your stomach growl. That's how I remember it.
That's a good trick. And at the same time, the protein boosts peptide YY, which signals fullness. So she is stabilizing her system to prevent a massive crash and the inevitable junk food cravings later in the afternoon.
Which we all get around like 3 p.m.
Oh, clockwork.
But that hormone stabilization in the morning is crucial, though it only gets you so far. When you look at her midday strategy, she completely flips the script on what modern diet culture tells us we should be eating at an office.
Yeah, she really does.
Because she frequently brings leftover vegetable lasagna for lunch.
Which shocks a lot of people.
I mean, bringing a heavy, starch-laden pasta dish to work usually guarantees you will be fighting the urge to fall asleep under your desk by 2 o'clock.
Oh, the classic carb coma.
Exactly. So how does a cardiologist justify eating a massive plate of carbs in the middle of the workday without crashing?
Well, she understands the profound difference between mindless calorie consumption and strategic fueling.
Strategic fueling. Okay, unpack that for me.
Her family is highly active in organized sports and various extracurriculars. Moving your body intensely requires readily available glycogen stores in the muscles.
Right.
And carbohydrates are simply the most efficient way to build those stores. A highly active family fundamentally requires that energy.
So they need the carbs.
Yes. But the secret lies in how she modifies the composition of the lasagna itself. She uses a clever blend of part skim mozzarella and cottage cheese.
Wait, cottage cheese and lasagna.
Yeah, swapping traditional ricotta for cottage cheese.
That is actually a brilliant textural hack.
Yeah,
You maintain the rich creaminess of the dish, but you drastically alter the macronutrient profile.
exactly. You drop the saturated fat significantly and bump up the protein. And that extra protein slows down the digestion of the pasta, which prevents that lethargic afternoon crash.
That's so smart.
And she doesn't stop there. She also packs those pasta layers with zucchini, mushrooms, and a heavy dose of spinach.
Spinach is great, but is there a specific heart benefit there?
Oh, spinach is critical here because it is exceptionally rich in dietary nitrates.
Nitrates, okay.
When you consume dietary nitrates, the bacteria in your mouth and the enzymes in your body convert them into nitric oxide.
And nitric oxide does what?
It is a vital signaling molecule. It essentially tells the smooth muscles around your blood vessels to relax and widen.
Oh, so more vasodilation, just like the banana.
Exactly. It drastically improves blood flow and lowers blood pressure.
So this lasagna isn't a heavy, lazy meal at all. It is a meticulously engineered vehicle for sustained energy and vasodilation.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
And engineering that sustained energy seems particularly vital when you look at the broader national trends regarding physical activity in young people.
Yeah, the data there is pretty alarming.
There's this poll data that highlights a very disturbing phenomenon researchers call the cliff effect.
The cliff effect.
Yeah. 1 in 3 parents report their 18 to 25-year-old children are minimally active or completely inactive.
Which represents a massive public health blind spot.
It really does, because during high school, physical activity is often structurally mandated,
Right. Teenagers have gym classes, they have organized sports teams, and just a built-in rigid schedule that forces them to move.
But the moment they graduate and enter college or the workforce, that external scaffolding completely vanishes.
Poof, it's gone. And if they haven't internalized the habit of moving their bodies, and crucially, fueling that movement properly, their activity levels plummet right off a cliff.
They go from burning thousands of calories a week on the track or the soccer field to sitting in a lecture hall or an office chair. But their eating habits often remain geared toward that high-output teenage lifestyle.
Exactly. Or, conversely, they might adopt highly restrictive diets because they suddenly realize they aren't moving as much.
Oh, right, like, I'm not playing soccer anymore, I should just eat salads.
Yes. And that tanks their energy levels, making them even more lethargic and less likely to exercise. It creates a complete downward spiral.
So Dr. Day's approach of feeding her kids smart, modified carbohydrates, like that cottage cheese lasagna, isn't just about getting them through a Tuesday afternoon practice.
Not at all. She is teaching them the physiological relationship between complex carbs and physical output.
She is equipping them with the intuitive knowledge of how to fuel a continually active life so they don't hit that cliff when they finally leave home.
Precisely.
Which ironically brings us right back to those sugary gummy snacks sitting in her lunch bag.
Infamous gummies.
Because if the overarching goal is sustained energy and avoiding metabolic crashes, eating a packet of highly processed fruit snacks designed for a toddler seems completely counterintuitive.
And if she were eating them while sitting motionless at her computer analyzing patient charts, it would absolutely be a metabolic mistake.
Because of the sugar crash?
Yeah. The simple sugars would cause a rapid, aggressive insulin spike followed by a steep, exhausting drop. But the key here is she doesn't eat them at her desk.
Oh, okay.
She eats them immediately before she goes for a run or an intense workout.
Ah, taking full advantage of that immediate glycemic load.
Exactly. During intense cardiovascular exercise, your working muscles require ATP, which is the primary energy carrier in human cells.
And you need energy right then and there.
Yes. Complex carbohydrates, like the whole wheat pizza dough or the lasagna, they take significant time and energy to break down in the digestive tract.
They are the slow burn fuel.
But the simple, refined sugars in those gummy snacks are rapidly absorbed directly into the bloodstream. They provide an immediate, easily accessible flash of fuel for her working muscles.
It completely reframes the entire concept of junk food.
It really does.
I mean, it is not about the inherent morality of the food, labeling it good or evil. It is entirely about the timing and the physiological application.
Timing is everything.
Using a kid's fruit snack as a functional pre-workout tool rather than a mindless indulgence just takes all the guilt out of it.
And it highlights her overarching rule beautifully, you know?
Yeah.
Moderation and function over rigid, punishing perfection. If a small pack of gummy snacks provides the accessible energy required to get you through a 3-mile run, it is serving a massive net positive purpose for your cardiovascular health.
That makes so much sense. Okay, let's look at how she finishes her day.
Her dinner routine is great.
Yeah. Once a week, they make homemade Asian cuisine, specifically do-it-yourself poke bowls.
Right.
And they keep it simple by using grocery store sushi rice and raw marinated tuna sashimi. From a cardiovascular standpoint, why is raw tuna consistently elevated as the absolute gold standard for heart health?
Well, the defining element of that tuna is its exceptionally high concentration of omega-3 fatty acids.
Omega-3s, we hear about those constantly.
We do, but for good reason. If we return to our earlier discussion about the inner lining of the blood vessels, the endothelium becoming irritated, swollen, and sticky from processed foods, well, omega-3s are the ultimate counterforce to that exact process.
Okay, think of inflammation in the arteries like a microscopic sunburn on the inside of your blood vessels.
Okay, I like where this is going.
If the circulating cholesterol is like sand sticking to that raw sunburn, the omega-3s act like a soothing, topical, anti-inflammatory cream. They heal the burn and calm the tissue so the sand just washes right past instead of forming dangerous plaques.
That is a brilliant way to visualize the mechanism. That is exactly what happens.
Wow.
Omega-3s operate on a cellular level to actively inhibit the production of inflammatory molecules called eicosanoids and cytokines.
So they literally alter the environment of the bloodstream.
Yes. Furthermore, they are clinically proven to lower triglycerides.
And those are a specific type of circulating fat, right?
Right, one that directly contributes to the hardening of the arterial walls. So a single serving of that tuna is delivering high-quality protein alongside a massive dose of anti-inflammatory medicine.
And she surrounds that anti-inflammatory protein with another brilliant DIY buffet setup.
Just like the pizza.
Exactly. She sets out tofu, spinach, broccoli, mushrooms, and sugar snap peas. She is applying the exact same psychological strategy. Let the family build their own bowls, give them total autonomy over the ratios, and watch them voluntarily consume a huge variety of vegetable-based micronutrients.
It just removes the friction from family dinners. The teenager doesn't feel forced, and the parent doesn't have to expend energy delivering a lecture on the cardiovascular benefits of a sugar snap pea.
Which sounds exhausting anyway.
It is. This is seamless, stress-free health.
And the day doesn't end with everyone staring miserably at a celery stick while craving sugar. Dessert is still very much on the table.
Oh, absolutely.
But again, the strategy relies on smart, sensible modifications. Traditional, heavy, premium ice cream is kept strictly as a rare, periodic indulgence. Instead, her sensible sweet of choice is fresh fruit sorbet or frozen yogurt.
Which is perfect because it satisfies the psychological craving for a cold, sweet reward at the end of a long day. But it fundamentally alters the lipid profile of the meal.
Right, you completely bypass the massive influx of saturated fat and excess calories that would require the cardiovascular system to work overtime to process while you were trying to sleep.
Exactly. It proves that a heart-healthy day doesn't require a miserable, restrictive evening.
So looking at this cardiologist's actual daily routine, the overarching lesson is a complete rejection of extreme diets and punishing restrictions.
Without a doubt.
Heart health isn't achieved by living in an isolated tower of nutritional perfection. It is built entirely on strategic swaps.
Right, using whole wheat dough to increase fiber.
Cutting ricotta with cottage cheese to maximize protein.
Setting up buffet-style dinners that leverage human psychology to encourage vegetable consumption without a fight.
It is about matching your nutritional intake to your physical output. Recognizing that complex carbohydrates are absolutely necessary for an active family, and understanding the cellular impact of everything from the potassium in a morning banana to the omega-3s in an evening serving of sashimi.
You know, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, from the microscopic behavior of inflamed blood vessels to the sociology of teenage sports drop-offs.
And we really have. But honestly, the concept that sticks out the most is the strategic, guilt-free use of those gummy snacks.
I think that's the big takeaway for a lot of people. Think about the pantry in your own kitchen right now. Consider the items you have strictly labeled as bad, toxic, or entirely off limits.
We all have that list in our heads.
Right. Is there a way you could strategically repurpose one of those items as functional fuel? Or could you slightly modify your absolute favorite comfort food meal, just like she does with the pizza and the lasagna, so that it actively serves your physiological needs rather than hindering them?
That is a phenomenal shift in perspective.
The ultimate goal of a long, healthy life isn't absolute rigid perfection. It is finding a sustainable, intelligent way to fuel the life you actually want to live.
It's not about never enjoying your food. It's about knowing exactly when and how to leverage it. Thank you so much for joining us for today's exploration. We hope this look into a top doctor's daily reality gives you the tools to navigate your own kitchen with a lot more confidence, a deeper understanding of your body, and a lot less guilt. Take care, everyone.